Today we are talking about writing equations of sine and cosine graphs. So the last 2 days we have been graphing by hand and identifying all the parts, so amplitude, period, all of those things. Today we are going back the other direction. Today I'm going to give you the graph and you are going to write and identify all of the different parts to write the equation of the graph that you see happening here. So let's get started. All right, this first one, I want you guys to write a cosine equation for this. So we know that there could be something sitting in front here. We have cosine. We have something that could be here, x minus c plus d. So this one's our a value, this is our b value, c value, and d value. And so you could have something happening in all of those places. And so first things first, I like to draw in my middle line, my new x-axis, because hopefully that helps you notice that this value here is our d value. And so I actually need to erase that. It's going to be a subtraction. We're going to have minus 2 as our d value because that's our new x-axis, our new middle. That we're looking for our cosine points. And so our cosine points go top, middle, bottom, middle, top. And so if we're starting here and ending here, we know that that's our cosine graph. And so there's no shifting left and right. We're starting at the y-axis, and so we don't need to shift anything left or right. So this one's going to be 0. We're not shifting. But we also are looking at one full complete cycle. What is the distance for one full complete cycle? Top to bottom, back to top. And so one full complete cycle is 2. And so like we saw yesterday, the period is 2 pi divided by b. But if we rearrange the equation, so if we multiply by b to the other side, these b's divide out, and then we can divide by p. And so the same equation, just rearranging the letters, the b value, what we're trying to solve for now, is also equal to 2 pi over the period, the p value. And so if we're trying to solve for b, 2 pi divided by the period here, which is 2 divided by 2 is going to give us pi. And so the b value needs to be pi in this situation because of the period, because of the length of one full complete cycle. All right, and then last thing we need to talk about. The last thing we need to talk about is our a value. And remember yesterday we talked about the amplitude. And so that's the distance from middle to top or middle to bottom. And so that distance is 1, which is no different than before. And so you can either put a 1 here or nothing. And so our final answer for our equation is going to be y equals cosine pi x minus 2. I also want to do a sine problem with you. And so here, we're also looking for the middle value. And so hopefully you see on this one that the middle value of this is 0. And so we'll have some things, but this is plus 0, plus d, nothing is happening here. And then I'm also looking for my sine points. So sine starts at the middle, and then goes down, back up. And so it looks almost like sine, but not quite. Instead of going up first and then down, it's going down first and then up. And so we know that there's going to be a negative here because we have reflected this graph over the x-axis. We can also look at our amplitude. So you can do these in any order, really, but our amplitude is 2, and it's going to be negative. So the height from the middle to the top or the middle to the bottom is 2, and so we know it's going to be a reflection, and we know the amplitude is 2. Okay, and so here to here, one full complete cycle, all of the bottom and all of the top is the units from 0 to 1. And so going back to our new equation here, so you may want to write that in your notebook, that b is also equal to 2 pi over the period. And so 2 pi over 1, we're going to have 2 pi x. So 2 pi is the b value, and then x needs to always be in our equation. And so the start of sine is at 0, and so we don't need to shift anything left or right, and so there's no c value that we need here, and so our final answer would be y equals -2 sine 2 pi of x. You can include the plus 0 or not, but this would be our final answer. I want to talk about a graph that could be either sine or cosine, because our graphs all look really similar. So we could actually write it both ways. And so some parts of this are going to stay the same for both equations, and some parts are going to be different. And so here, we know that the middle is 1, so we know that this is going to have a plus 1 at the end of it. And we're trying to write this as cosine. And so cosine starts here and ends here. And so there's several ways that we could think through what our cycle is here. And so I usually like trying to decide what the period is, starting at the beginning and going to the end. And so the length of one cycle here is 2 pi divided by 3. So to find the period, or to find the b value, we have 2 pi divided by 2 pi over 3. And so how we can simplify that, remember, keep the top, change to multiplication, and then flip the bottom. And so what happens is my 2 pi is divided out, and so the b value in my equation is going to be 3. And so we know this is going to be a cosine equation because that's what I'm trying to write it as here. And so cosine, if you notice here, is starting at pi over 6. And so what I have to do is I have to shift my cosine. What would normally be here is now over to the right, pi over 6. And so I need to shift this to the right, pi over 6. And so minus pi over 6 is going to do that for me, shifting the whole graph from 0 to pi over 6 and everything after that. And so this value here helped me figure out what the period is, or one full complete cycle, but then this value helped me figure out how much to shift it over. The last thing is my height, or my amplitude, and so the distance from the middle to the top would be 2, and here's my equation. Now, if I took that same graph, and I tried to write it as a sine function, the amplitude's not changing, the period is not changing, the shift up and down is not changing. And so on my next equation, all of those things can stay exactly the same. So I have y equals 2 sine this time, 3x plus 1. The thing that is different is the shift left or right. And so here is what sine looks like. And so that is starting at my y-axis. And so I don't need to shift this left or right. I don't need this at all, really. It can just be 2 sine 3x plus 1 is equal to y. And that would be my final answer. I hope this helps. Oh, tomorrow. So today you can use the rest of class to finish 14.1, 14.2, and today's assignment. My guess is today's assignment will be pretty quick, and so you'll have some time to finish 14.1 and 14.2. we will also take our first unit circle quiz on 1023. So start studying your unit circle, and we'll take that first quiz on 1023.